Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for March 30th and 31st, 2020. How are you doing? Well, we continue to be in this incredibly potent and epic time of Jupiter conjunct Pluto exact. This will last through April 6th. But then these planets get a little bit further apart. Jupiter goes forward, but then takes a retrograde in just a couple of degrees. And so these planets actually stay close into August. So we're in a chapter here of what's happening. Jupiter trying to bring the light, the expansion, the truth to what's really going on. And Pluto, the destruction and reconstruction. Now, with Mars having moved over into Aquarius, we're talking about the reconstruction part of this process. Very important energy for us right now. For the next 3 days, we've got Mars in conjunction with Saturn at 0 degrees Aquarius. And we're looking at what are we going to do with the rubble of this situation, of our world, of our paradigm, of our reality. And again, the message is that for these souls, it's so important right now, such a gift you're giving by allowing yourself to step back and see the bigger picture. And in the information box of the video today, I included a message from White Eagle, a Hopi elder, which is very, very beautiful about what we can choose in this time and keeping our attention on our role in creating a new world. Very important message for this time. And my heart goes out to all that are suffering right now and to all of those health workers on the front line doing so much to show up. It's an intense place to be. I've been there. It takes a certain kind of soul. And so I wanted to just make that clear that but there's also a lot of people suffering from the fear that's being propagated around this situation. And my heart also goes out to them. And that's where we come into play here. This is where we get our opportunity to come into the truth, our greater spiritual truth, our greater cosmic truth, the power of our consciousness. The reason why I focus so much on the fear and trying to give an alternate reality is that it's clear you can see that there's a lot of programming going on. We are getting not true information about the actual danger and the actual situation. This is a travesty and a criminal act that is being perpetrated upon us right now with the exacerbation of the fear. The fear it's coming is like worse than the disease itself. There is definitely a danger in this virus to people who are immune compromised and elderly who are immune compromised or have an underlying chronic condition. There's definitely a danger. And because it's so contagious, that means that it's kind of blooming all at once, whereas we'll have more deaths in a year from the flu, but because it's happening all at one time in big urban centers, that can be a stress on the system. But there's also this energy of fear. Now, something I've talked about in my past life readings and looking at things from this perspective over our whole Earth evolution. So often the control energies, so I talked about how we are creators of our reality, but we're also very programmed, right? We're like a computer with bad software, and this is a blooming of this. And it's actually an incredibly powerful opportunity to take our power back in our consciousness. And it's very difficult right now because there's this huge program going on in this groupthink that what we need to do and how we help each other is to be in fear and to be in panic. And that's not helping anybody, right? And so when your body may be fighting this virus, there could be a breakdown. And for most healthy people, it's not a big deal. But if you're immune compromised, then it can be a risk. And then your body's fighting. And may I just sending out a prayer that this can be an opportunity to take back our power of our life force, our immune system, take back our power from the control energies working through the systems of our world to keep us feeling powerless. Because right now we have the option of washing our hands and distancing ourselves, or being on a respirator, and nothing in between. And there's such an opportunity for us to um, experience the power of the immune system and take back the power in our body. Taking the time right now that a lot of people are being given to rest and understand the power of the body. And may this be an opportunity for us to come back into that power that we have to defend ourselves, to protect ourselves. So much fits on the bigger picture, this energy of a divine masculine activation. Um, so so my focus has been on trying to help these souls hold a different vibration, because like I've said, I've seen again and again through these past life pictures that negative creating of catastrophes, of very dark arts that humans have blamed themselves for, um, come from, and war, and like what Hitler was able to do. This is from a mass consciousness program. And so, first of all, they'll plant a seed in our consciousness, and then they will create fear. And that's what allows the collective consciousness to allow negative creating. And so that's why it's so potent for these souls right now to step back from the stories and from the group think and hold this space of what's really happening, which is the spiritual awakening. This is a spiritual awakening. And those souls that contract the virus, and maybe they can have a spiritual awakening and feel the power of their body and have the support, the loving support that's available for them right now, with true supportive healthcare that is building the immune system and making us feel empowered in our ability to protect ourselves in our human experience. And so this now there's a couple messages here around this, though. So this is why you souls are, and why I've been kind of like harping on this every day. It's like, but it's like your time to step in, step up, to come into who you really are. And this Hopi prayer message is very powerful in alignment with this, that we are having an opportunity of, White Eagle talking about we can go into a hole, or we can go through the portal. And these souls, that you're here in the power of your consciousness. You've gone through so much trauma through your past lives, and come through so much to still be here on the planet. Now, part of the message coming through is that you just being here, even if you're caught up in the garbage right now, you, as who you are as a soul, changes the vibration of this planet as an advanced soul, just by being here and living and breathing. So congratulations. And then if you can take the leap to a little bit more and more, allow the hope, the joy, the expansiveness to come into your life of the spiritual awakening, even though it goes against the groupthink paradigm right now. And this is part of the delusion around health. And this kind of strange place we're in as these control energies are exposing themselves, because the fear energy makes us susceptible to disease, And so I'm still working on the plant meditation of this beautiful mushroom that is offering its life force to us right now as an energetic healing on the planet. And so look out for that plant meditation for that red banded mushroom. That has such a beautiful affinity and connection to this current virus and to the current situations in the world, powerful antiviral. And so there's the reason why that mushroom came into resonance is because it fits the mental vibration of what's going on in the world, which is this fear and panic. And of course, This is our root chakra, our permission to be here and safe on this planet. Now, if you're in a vibration that your house is burning down, but your house isn't burning down, you can see how the energy, our fight or flight mechanism is not for that, you know? And so the fear of this illness, because it's affecting millions and billions, and because of the misinformation we're being given about the situation, is very much more damaging than the disease itself. And so that's where these souls come in and have to be present, and um, that your body can fight this if it comes to you, but your best protection is to choose a different vibration. And because you're a projector soul, by giving yourself permission to do that, you're giving yourself permission to hold space for your whole community. And you don't even know. See, this is the energy of this Uranus and Taurus moving into new territory, an exact semi-sextile to Chiron, the wounded healer in Aries, wounds of the self, where you've had to deny and distance and reject who you really are as a powerful soul in order to just survive on the planet. And those times are over. Now it's time for you to come into your full glory. And that's this opportunity we're being given. And that we're not going to be the mode of negative creating anymore. Like we're in charge of our reality. We're in charge of what we want to create on this earth. Now that's the energy of Mars and Saturn together at 0 degrees Aquarius. It's like, so Pluto is a breakdown and rebuild, right? And it's like we're in a breakdown. We're in that, the fabric of our systems, everything being revealed as, and may we come into a more beautiful, beautiful healthcare and awareness of the power of the physical body and support of the life force. And so Mars and Saturn are talking about the reconstruction. It's time for reconstruction. And the thing about why it's so important to allow ourselves to vibrate at a different frequency than the fear and the panic is because first vibration creates reality, right? So first is that energy, then comes the manifested form. So like when you are sick, say you're getting a cold or a flu, you are more contagious before you even have the symptoms, right? And so that vibration then manifests in physical form. And by the time you have the symptoms, your body is doing what it needs to do to fight, right? And so anybody who fights off a cold or a flu or a virus is stronger for it. And but we're dealing with the vibrational energy of what we're creating. And so that's where these souls are being asked to go into that ceremonial space, exactly what White Eagle is talking about, and to be present in that place where you've been in many past lives, except for you've cast aside that shaman part of you and that powerful part of you. You've taken on the blame of all that they said, all the pain of this world. And it's like, no, you're in a soul that it's not possible for you to like humanity is holding the blame for like so much of what's happened on our planet, when it was really this 1%, this control energy, this dark forces that were creating these dramas and traumas, yes, through seeding our consciousness and through the fear by vibration. But we can't carry this heavy energy anymore of shame and blame. And it's time for us to come back into connection with that shamanic power, to go into our ceremonial space, to be there and be present with the spiritual awakening that's happening right now. And so we're being asked in that space to keep our eye on the ball of what we are creating here, which is a world that way better supports humanity. Like it's like, and that's where I get frustrated around our healthcare system, because I've seen different way. I've seen miracles as a classical homeopath again and again. And if these people who were contracting the virus had a homeopath there, with them, then we would have way less deaths, and the pandemic, the flu pandemic in the 1919 time, homeopaths had like a 0.5%, death rate, and the others had about 10% of regular medicine, you know, and so it's hard to be at a place where you can see the solutions and how we've been beaten down in our power taken from us. And yet, this is such a beautiful opportunity to take that back and to see these systems that can support us, like a financial system that's not uh, stealing from us and keeping us in poverty, and a government system that actually wants to take care of the citizens, and a healthcare system that has true care that we can non-suppressive and enhancing the power of the immune system. And so these are examples of what we're being asked to hold in our consciousness vibrationally of this new world that we're creating, the reconstruction of this world. And that's what this Mars and Saturn together. So Mars and Saturn at 0 degrees Aquarius, moving into that energy of like, wow, it could be so different. It could be so beautiful. And it already is. It already is, because we know it's possible and we can feel it happening, and allow ourselves to be in that vibration is this beautiful, beautiful gift you can give to humanity right now. Coming back where you've been persecuted and rejected and exiled for your power as a healer and as a light worker. Now it's time to come back into the gift of that and allow that for yourself and allow that to be this beautiful gift. And that's the opportunity we're being given right now for humanity. Come back into that vibration of the power of our consciousness to hold a different picture vibrationally of what we're creating. Again, it sounds like a lot of pressure, and the message coming in that you just existing on this planet as who you are as an advanced soul is a lot. And then, wow, if you can just give yourself a little bit of time in the power of your consciousness, reaching out beyond the stories into that connection with your soul group that's also awakening into their power, and how exciting it is, the times that lay ahead as we get to find each other and get to work on these projects of the reconstruction of our world. And we're giving a glimpse of this. And it's a beautiful rainbow I'm seeing between Mars and Saturn at 0 degrees Aquarius, entertaining something new. Of course, this is radically different, right? And part of what's the image that I've been seeing and the messages of this time have to do with it. When the light comes in the way that it is right now, as our lower matrix is being dismantled, it's this beautiful experience, and you'll kind of forget. And then you're like, oh, wow, I feel so good. And it's, of course, these energies being like, no, you're not, if you're not freaking out in trauma right now, then you're not doing what you're here to do. And it's like, but I feel so expansive and better than I have in so long, And also, though, when these energies come in, they bring stuff to the surface. Now, that's a big thing about today, is that Mercury is coming out of its retrograde shadow. In Pisces, it's pushing through the water, pushing through the grief, pushing through. So there's lots of emotions getting stirred up, and coming to the surface. And when the light comes in, that's the effect, right? So some people need to experience panic, fear, and trauma to cleanse out their Piscean age. And we've been dealing with this for the last years in our everyday life. And it's time for us to embrace the roots of the seeds of these new beginnings. But know also that the light coming in brings a lot of stuff to the surface. So it's like waves of emotional energy, of old grief, of that deep isolation that you've gone through as this type of soul. And but also it's like, it's like across the backdrop of this permission and invitation. I feel like the veil is being thinned to the supportive energies with the lower matrix. And they're like coming in, our highest self, our manifested self, and our future self. And enlightened, supportive energies are kind of like inviting us gently into this new vibration. And then as we ask and receive for the help of the highest vibrational frequencies, then we also give ourselves permission, to be invited in. But know that the light coming in, like that divine timeline landing, it's going to bring stuff up to the surface too. And so it's kind of like allowing that process of grief to happen, allowing for that release, letting go of these heavy energies, because the light coming in is going to bring stuff to the surface, and you're making more room for that light to be present in your field, in your body, in your life. And use the social isolation right now as a time for your spiritual awakening. And it's kind of like there's nowhere else to go, right? There's nowhere else to go except for right here in your heart, in your soul, in your truth, and just keeping that this is a very, very spiritual experience going on right now. And so Mercury out of shadow, huge shift, but bringing stuff up. And Mercury moves in, I think it's on the 11th or so. So right around Easter. Good Friday's on the 10th, Easter's on the 12th, Sunday. And right around there is when Mercury moves into Aries. So that'll be powerful because it's like, kind of like a new beginning in our conceptual reality after Mercury going 3 times over this Aquarius Pisces cusp, and kind of like, can we get out of this energy? Can we see through the delusions? Can we see through the lies? Can we face that we've been disempowered and controlled, and that maybe we liked it that way because then we felt safe, in the pen, in the cage, and we didn't have to face the fear programming around our own power, except for now we're being like invited out of the cage and into this wider expansive energy. And that the power of these souls, just a small percentage of the population, is changing the vibration on the planet, coming together in these group meditations, changing the vibration, holding a different space so that next card up the sleeve of negative creating cannot happen, and claiming our spiritual evolution once and for all. So part of the deal with Atlantean time, which for me it's about 100,000 years ago, these control energies came in at that time. And part of Atlantis was that we were working with very high level technology. We we're on the edge of ascension, and then the catastrophes were created as a way to scare these advanced souls from their power, from their intuition, from their ability, and so many forces I've seen, so many ways that they've tried to keep us from our pineal gland, and it's like, so 100,000 years ago, our evolution got held back, our spiritual evolution, and it's about time to get on with it, right? But because of this whole story, we're doing it in a very different way. It's like an experiment where we're staying in our body, we're staying on our earth, and we're going together into these higher frequency vibrations gradually, there is like a shock to it in a way, like that's where we're at right now. But at the same time, it's like we're transforming. You can feel how different time is right now, how weird things look, like things look differently. Like if you allow these vibrations to come in, this is what's been kept from us. It's like we've been told that, okay, spiritual ascension, you're going to die. You're going to be all alone. You have to take the abuse. You have to keep a vow of silence. You're going to be just floating out there in space all by yourself. And that's what we've been programmed over our evolution, these souls, and that our power, the power of our consciousness, awakening our higher intuitive faculties, which are our God-given right by existing, that's going to cause destruction. And it's a lie. It's a total and complete lie. And these feelings that when the pineal gland activates, it secretes DMT, it's psychedelic. Like we're moving into this frequency vibration that's like, oh, I feel at one, like just living and breathing with. And if you tap into nature and the earth right now, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And then you just have to separate out what humanity needs to experience right now and know that your path, your spiritual destiny is something different. And that Chiron in Aries is like, stand up, get up, stand up, break the chains, and give yourself permission to come into these higher frequency vibrations that feel so good. And it's such a cross wiring because it's like, wait, feeling good is our spiritual path? I thought it was martyr, sacrifice, pain, struggle, right? And it's like, oh, okay. So that's part of this time right now. And maybe that's Mercury retrograde coming out of shadow. It's like, ooh, that's like a 180-degree turn from what I thought and we was programmed. And we all are being asked to be like, well, maybe I was wrong about that. All of the beliefs that people are just clinging to in this world and getting so angry at each other about how they see reality. And it's like we're all being asked to be like, oh, wow, maybe that's way different than I thought. And that is the spiritual awakening. And that's the true awakening, coming into more greater, wider truth, right? We have been told so many lies, and it does appear more and more every day. There's information coming in that we are on the verge of more disclosure around these things, around the truth of our history, around the truth of the technology that's available that's now being used against us as long as we don't know about it. Same technology we were working with in Atlantean time. And so we are being asked to be present and come out of those delusions, be open in our mind. But we do have to, I'm seeing a picture of this Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham. She talks about this image. It's kind of helpful right now of like, you can't take a train going 80 miles an hour and just go the other direction, right? You got to slow the train down. And this is a really huge opportunity for us right now with this staycation, with this social distance, with this giving this time and space in our lives to reset our vibration, reset our life, reset our health, claim back our power to heal ourselves. And slowing down this train of the delusions of the Piscean age of that we're here to suffer, sacrifice, and be the martyr, and then start that train back up in a new direction. And that's what this Mars conjunct Saturn is about. It's like, let's put our eyes on the reconstruction, right? And we know the deconstruction's happening, but it wouldn't be happening if we weren't building something new. And that's where you come in. And it's great. It's time to get on your path and be who you really are and come into the power of your consciousness and the actual projects, the actual path, the actual container structure of your work in this world. That will come. That will come. But right now it's about receiving the power of your consciousness and taking back your ability as to hold consciousness, to be a projector of the world that we know we're here to build. We wouldn't have gone through all of this not to. And so great work. I'm getting huge messages around like, you guys are doing so good. Keep up the good work. Like, be strong in the light within and own that. You have to receive that first. And these souls have been so like, oh, I want to help, I want to give, I want to be compassionate. And then they're just bowled over by these negative narcissistic forces on the planet, right? And it's like, you have to receive this and hold it sacred and safe with that divine masculine. Just like, hold your temple, build your temple, that sacred container for the power of your consciousness, and be present. Allow that joy to come in. And so check out that quote or that message from White Eagle. It's very fits everything we've been talking about. And right after this and today, the energy, I'm going to go ahead and do the day one of the 8-day meditation retreat that I did in January when Saturn and Pluto were together. I think it's very important. Energy is encoded in those, and the link to the playlist of those meditations is in the information box below, and the quote from White Eagle. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that meditation, receive for myself. And thank you so much for your support and supporting me in this work and supporting each other and allowing our spiritual army to be formed for this new and different way of the fight as we go through this divine masculine activation and taking back our power to create the world we want. And so I hope that you will join in on that 8-day meditation retreat energetically. Also, a world meditation. There's other meditations happening on 4/4. It's really cool. And I went with the time that resonated for our group, and know that we can also be a part of the other ones. It'll be like a wave going around the whole planet, but that's noon Mountain time on the 4th, next Saturday. And so we can put our energy together and have a beautiful experience of the power of our creation, our energies of creation, the power of our consciousness, and being coming right home into our heart, using this experience that's happening right now to push us to the only place we can go, which is into that true self, into our heart, into the power of our consciousness, and the gift that is for humanity right now, and for the world and the earth, and this co-creation experience very palpably. So I look forward to seeing you there, and so I'll see you there. Meditation, the next update tomorrow, and an astral plane in our meditation retreat. So I'll see you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.